very cool. Oh, so good morning, Facebook. This is, right there it says the Saturday service. I'm Rabbi Brian. It says that right there over my head. So good morning. Glad you are here. I am joined on Zoom by my friends. Hi, friends who are on Zoom. Say hi to all the people on Facebook.
Hello.
Hi. So nice people on Facebook, you will be able to hear these people as they participate, and people who are here participating, you are able to hear and see each other because this is Zoom. If you have a dog or a child, pay attention because you might not be used to them making noise in the background, and we are. We're going to be listening in. So, yeah, keep that in mind. And those of you who are here, I ask you, keep your microphones unmuted as much as you can. I do enjoy interacting with people, and if you have a comment to make, to please make the comment. I will go back to an announcement I've made a long time ago, which is don't take other people's turkeys, which is to say, do you remember this story that I told you about a student of mine who he was online for a Thanksgiving dinner at a shelter, and somebody rolled up in a fancy car in an Acura and parked, got out, and got online to get a dinner. And Tony, my student, says, that's not fair. He was taking someone else's turkey dinner. And so I ask you, if you know you have been speaking a few times, to please hold yourself back a little bit so other people can participate as well. And also, I want to ask by a show of hands, and hi, Rose, and who else did I not say? Hi to Alex, Al, and Sandra, and Wendy, and Bruce, and all the people whose names I didn't get to say yet. Welcome as well. Lost the train of thought.
Oh, I see another eligible for the
So
the
here
prize.
was a question. I wanted to start with, how many people are here who are under 40 who are here because they heard there was a prize to be had? We have
Cody and
Alma.
Catriona.
She wants the prize.
And Alma, I appreciate you putting yourself in the under 40 group. We're going to need to see some identification.
Your niece wants to know what the prize is.
Oh, and my niece Aliana is there too. Hi, Ali. Yes, Alma, go ahead. What do you have?
I'm 26 and a bit. And I've been 26 and a bit for quite a long time.
Oh, is your birthday on the 29th of February?
No.
How are you still 20?
I'm 26 and a bit a bit.
How does that work, Alma?
I just decided at 20, when I was 20, my husband was older than me and he stopped counting birthdays at 29 and there was no way I was going to overtake him. So I stopped.
Okay, well, if you, I'm going to stick with the people who awkward. Those of you, so we're going to go with Catriona. Am I saying that right, Catriona?
Catriona, but Katie is also great.
Katie.
Oh, Katie works.
Katie, I have here 3 different prizes. Prize A. This is prize B. And this is prize C. Pick a prize and you will get mailed a prize of your choice because I'm pandering to the under 40-year-old crowd.
Well, I'm going to go with prize B because it made a weird noise.
B. Here's prize B.
Yeah.
Prize B is your very own. I'll put it under this camera. Maybe we can see it a little better. Here it is.
It's not the COVID vaccine.
This is Denial in a Vial.
Excellent.
And it says right here, when you just don't want to deal, active ingredients delusion. Oh, that's fantastic.
Perfect.
And then there's a little warning on the bottom. You have to have really good eyesight for this. The warning on the bottom says, not to be taken with faith. So, Katie, we will be sending...
Congratulations, Katie.
Katie, if you would private
We all want
message
some of that.
over to me
It's
or
not the river in Egypt.
No, this is just this is because I think packaging is really funny. And you can package anything right, people will like it. So here we go. Katie, if you would private message to me or to Alex, I can get your address. Anyone else under 40 who would like one of these fabulous prizes today?
I want to know, did you create this?
The denial in a vial? I did. This is iteration 4.0. This is
Unbelievable.
It is almost unbelievable. Anyone else
Unbelievable.
under 40 who would like a prize?
What are the other options? What are A and C?
C and A. Would you like one of them, Ollie? Okay, we'll let you think about that for the service. And if yes, the answer is yes, Ollie, you would like one of the prizes. A or C or B. And I see people have put their hands up, so thank you guys for doing that. Ollie, send me a note after if you want, or tell me now. And
Rabbi,
yes, yes, Ruth.
I have a question.
Yes, Ruth.
What's the price for being twice 80?
Twice 40 is 80.
40.
Well,
Twice 40.
I'm really trying to pander to a younger
get 2
demographic at this
prizes.
moment.
You should get 2
Okay,
prizes.
let me move us along from prizes and transition us more
You should
towards
get
service.
2 prizes.
Yes,
Ruth.
Rob, you should get all the prizes you want. Thank you guys for joining. I want to start us with a little bit of a review of some things that we had talked about in the past, and I lost my notes. Well, good.
The past
Here
is
it is.
gone.
Past is gone, and all we have left is the present. You don't. Oh,
Presents for everyone.
good. I had given a little homework assignment before for this week, and I'm wondering if people had any success or if they noticed what was going with them for that. Which is that I asked people, and you might not have done this exercise, but instead in the last week of saying the phrase "have to," as in I have to undo the dishwasher, that instead you would substitute in the phrase "get to" instead of "have to." And just by a show of hands, people did that. Anyone do that experiment? I got a few people. Keep your hands up if you found it to be meaningful.
I got 2.
Okay.
Difficult.
It's a difficult one to do, and we're going to have a different assignment this time. But so give me a little bit of feedback from people who had their hands up. What changed when you stopped saying I have to do the dishwasher, I have to go to the grocery store, I have to clean up, and instead you put in the word get to? Give us a little bit of feedback. Anyone who had their hand up a moment
It's all
ago.
positive.
Yeah, Meg. Hold on, Rob. Meg, yeah.
I enjoyed digging up the daffodils more.
I enjoyed digging up the daffodils more because it wasn't anything you had to do. It feels obligatory. Right. Fantastic. Anyone else who has a comment? Yes, Jeffrey.
Get to is like an action. I get to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an action versus a have to, which is like a long sigh.
Oh, very good. Very good. Have to is a long sigh of, oh, I have to do this. Very, very good. Other responses to this little exercise that we did? Yeah. Marcus's mom, whose name is skipping me right this moment.
It's Carrie.
Yeah, Carrie.
I used it when I... Hi, Brian. I used it at work in the emergency room. I get to help a patient with this or that, and it reminded me that I'm helping somebody who needs help as opposed to just powering through a workday.
Right. Yeah. Gave you a little bit more pause. Okay, so those of you who did not do this assignment yet, this is, as I said last week, this is not anything that you have to do.
Yep. I got that.
Okay.
But you should do it.
Well, should.
Or I might do it. Or I will like to do it.
Should.
So I'm going to give us a heads up on the same kind of game for next week. Is instead of saying, and you'll notice how often you say it, instead of saying I need.
Yeah. I want.
There are very few things that we need. Want. And see what happens if you make this substitute next week. So homework that you get to do. is instead of saying, I need this, or just really noticing yourself when you say, I need, and pausing for a second and say, is that really true? Or is this a want? And see how does that affect everything that's going on. Rob, you look like you got something to say, my friend.
I have a question.
Yeah, man.
What if we're trying to cut down and we don't want to ask ourselves to want anymore?
Then you have the problem that Buddhists always have with attachment, is if they strive for non-attachment, aren't they getting attached to the idea of wanting to be non-attached? And it winds up being this horrible little circle. And you're right, Rob, it's kind of a trick. Do you have a solution to it other than just more to say, or is that it, Rob?
No.
Okay.
I always have more to say. I'm sorry.
Well, I thank you in this case for holding back a little bit.
I can take it to the next step.
Okay, go for it.
Oh, please
When
do.
you get from I need to I want to, then you could say, well, then I probably don't want to.
Oh. Well, so it's not as much as I need to do something, but I need you to pay attention. You don't need me to pay attention. You want me to pay attention. I need these people on the news to stop acting like idiots.
I
I
want
want the people on the news to stop acting like idiots. And
But they never will.
we also don't need to watch the news.
There you go.
Yeah.
Going.
So this is going to be homework for next week. We have a lot to talk about today. The article that I sent out on Monday seemed to have triggered a lot of things, and then in taking that with the topic from last week. Last week we tried to give our 12-year-old selves, our internalized 12-year-old selves, a bit of advice and tried to see what our internal 12-year-olds would tell us today. And that, coupled with this idea of original sin, brought up for me the topic that I want us to look at today. And this is a deep topic, and we're going to have a lot to say about it. And the question that I have, and here's what I spent not most of the week, but I spent a good part of the week doing. And I advise you that this is anything you want to learn about, there's a great way of doing it, which is start asking everyone with whom you interact the question you want the answer to. And I did this first with patience. When I wanted to learn about patience, I started asking store clerks, how do you stay patient? I'd ask the people on the phone who are at customer service, is there anything else I can help you with? And I'd say, well, funny enough, yeah, I do have a question. How do you stay patient? And I got different answers from different people. This week, the question that I kept asking people was, why do you think it's so difficult for so many people to be kind to themselves, to be proud of themselves, to have compassion for themselves? And so that's the question this week, is why does it seem for so many people that it's easier to be kind to someone else than it is for us to be kind to ourselves? And that's the question I want us to be looking at today, is what is it about the human condition? And I got lots of different answers from lots of different people, and not all of it was some of it contradicts each other, but it's all good for learning. Is why is it that we as adults, as rational folks, why is it that we aren't as kind to ourselves as we could be? And we saw this a few weeks ago, maybe it was a few months ago, when I had everyone make a drawing of themselves. Y'all remember we made drawings of ourselves? And I asked you, if a 4-year-old came up to you with a drawing and handed you a drawing as best as a 4-year-old can draw and gave it to you, I asked you, and I'll ask you again, how many of you would know how to respond to that 4-year-old? I'll take some visuals. Yeah, you would all know exactly how to respond to that 4-year-old. You would say to that 4-year-old, kid, you need to stay in school. Your drawing abilities are awful. Your fine motor skills are just atrocious. You should be ashamed of yourself. Your color pattern.
No.
Did I ask you all to stay unmuted? Because I think that might have been a mistake.
I think you forgot.
But here's the question. We all know, I would never treat a 4-year-old like that. I would never treat a 4-year-old like that. But we treat ourselves that way. And the question I have is, why? If we're older now, if we're wiser at all now, why would we not treat ourselves as kindly as we would treat a 4-year-old? Take a moment to think on that, and I'm going to ask you, if you're able to open up your chat window, and we're going to try something really new. We've never done this before, so if everyone would open up their chat window on their computers, and those of you who are watching on Facebook, I have some people who are watching on Facebook. Hold on a second. There, Diane Bloom says, I get to serve you. Fantastic. Other people who are on Facebook, please start typing in your comments. Here's how this is going to work. Either on Facebook in the comments or in the chat here. I want you, and I'm going to time us for exactly 1 minute. And I'm going to ask you in the chat box, hold on, let me get my 1 minute timer at the set. I'm going to ask you, there it is. Hold on, pause. Reset to 1 minute, there we go. I'm going to ask you to free write for 1 minute in the chat box or in your Facebook comments, and I'm going to ask you to write everything you possibly can think of or that you want to share about why it is that we as adults find it hard to be kind to ourselves where we would know to be kind to a child. So starting now, just start typing in your... And, let me tell you how this is going to work. At the end of 1 minute, everyone's going to hit return at the same time. And all the comments are going to go up at the exact same time, and we're going to get to read them. And the reason for this is so that you'll see. This is pedagogically sound. So here we go. Question, does everyone understand what we're going to be doing before I start the timer? Can I hear back from someone to tell us what the assignment is under this 1 minute?
I'm going to write everything that comes to my mind about why I wouldn't be kind to myself when I would be kind to a child.
Perfect. And you can also do it in the third person. You can talk about why people as opposed to talking about yourself if you want. And Hannah...
I can't get the chat line open on my iPad.
Okay, so then just free write yourself down any notes that you want to have, Joy. Technology sometimes can be a bit of a burden. And Hannah, you will also get one of our under 40-year-old prizes. I'll talk to you about that in a moment. So here we go. Free write for 1 minute. And here we go. Start your writing right now. Start typing into the chat why it is that we think we're not as kind to ourselves as we are or would be to a child. And don't hit enter until we get to the 1 minute mark. And those of you who are on Facebook, I'm glad you're watching. I can't share the screen, but everyone looks like they're writing diligently. Why is it that we're not as kind to ourselves?
Be quiet.
As we are to other people? What's that about? We got about 9 seconds left.
Oh.
And then we're all going to hit enter at the same time. Ready? 2, 1. Hit enter and let all the messages show up right now. That's great. Oh, that's fantastic. Look at all the messages pouring in. Here's the next thing I'd like us to do is I'm going to set another timer for a minute. And I want you to read through the comments that are there. Just take a minute, read through any comments that are there, and pick out, I'm going to stop the timer because I didn't give the instructions quite yet. In a moment, I'm going to start the timer for another minute and look through the comments that are there. See if there's something that somebody says or writes that makes sense, that's resonant to you. And make a little thought I've not done this before, so I'm feeling a little staggery here. Pause, time out. What I'm going to ask you to do when this timer is over is I'm going to start another clock for a minute, and I'm going to ask you to write in that comment, Dear Shmuley, Dear Candace, Dear whoever it is whose comment you want to comment on. Say, Dear whoever, thank you for reminding me that. Or, Dear whoever, I found it interesting that you said. Or, Dear whoever, I liked this part of what you wrote. So when this timer is over in 50 seconds, we're going to start writing some comments back and see what it is that moved us.
Rabbi?
Yes.
Are we sending this directly to the individual?
No, thank you, Gord. We're going to just post this publicly as well.
All right.
Thank you,
Well,
Gord.
responding to something that was written here.
Yeah, anything that moved you, just be able to say, Dear Rose, I thank you so much for reminding me that it might have to have white supremacist perfectionism, that it might be related to that. Rose, I hadn't thought of that. Whatever it is that you want to put in. Whatever moved you from what someone else... This is an experiment. I've not... Obviously, y'all can tell I haven't done this exact way of instructing you before because this is really choppy. But I'm not going to beat myself up because that would kind of be counterproductive and against the entire thesis of what this service is about today. All right, so type into the chat any thank you that you have for somebody, anything that you want to comment about. All right, so thank you. I see some different comments coming in. Some written to people, to Barb and to Lee and to... So if you have a comment to put in, please put a comment in. And obviously we're not going to be able to read everything. And I'm going to have us try it this way. Thank you guys for the comments that you're putting in. And Scott, good to see you. So what's one thing that you saw, not necessarily what you had originally thought, but something that someone else has added? What's something that you saw where you thought, oh my goodness, yeah, that. What's something that you saw in the chat where you're thinking, yeah, that's one of the reasons that we're not as kind to ourselves as we are to a kid? What kind of things did you see in there? Did everyone get a chance to see things? Everyone had a chance? So here, let me take a breath of air. All right. Who saw something in the chat that they thought was of interest? You don't have to share what it was, but who saw something in the chat that they thought, wow, I hadn't thought of that? I got a bunch of people. Yeah, fantastic. And for the people who have their hands up, what's one of the things that you saw? And if you want to put your hands up electronically, I will look at that as well. But somebody who had, let's start with Hannah. You had your electronic hand up. What's one thing that you saw in the chat? Why are we not as kind to ourselves as we should be? Why are we not as proud of ourselves as we should be or could be?
Because we're taught that it's a way of pushing ourselves to grow and be better. And so if you're from being like nitpicky to being truly like beating yourself up, like that's just you trying to improve yourself.
Yeah, and fantastic, Hannah. And that's one of the things that the rabbis of old said, that if it weren't for the evil inclination, that's what they called it, if it weren't for the desire to evil inclination, we wouldn't build things. We wouldn't strive. We wouldn't gain. We wouldn't, if we don't compare ourselves to others, how would we better ourselves? So one of the reasons we might not be as kind to ourselves as others is that we've been taught to push ourselves. We've been taught to always want more, to always be more. What else? What are other reasons?
My mother always said to don't be vain, and so you don't accept that.
So one is that we're taught to push, and the other is that we have this fear of vanity, this fear of being proud. That if you are proud of yourself, something really bad will befall you. Thou shalln't be proudeth.
Right.
Yep.
It's not written in the Bible.
And the one that no matter what we did, it was never good enough.
Yeah. That we're taught to push, we have a fear of pride, and we were told you're never done. And I think school has I love school, you all know that. But I think school has a way of doing that after years and years of, here's a class, you finished it, you done? No, you're not done. You're coming back next year and we're going to start this whole thing again. Oh, you finished 11th grade? Yeah, we got a whole 12th grade for you now. Oh, you're done with 12th grade? We got 4 more years of college for you. You're never done. You got to keep going. It's insidious. I saw a hand moving there. Rags? No, that wasn't you. Okay, I apologize. And anyone else got a thought of why it is?
It seems to me. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, do it, Barb.
It seems to me that you have to be able to hold a paradox, because to me the truth is that you are never done, but that's not a bad thing.
So it's how do we push ourselves?
Uh-huh.
That it's all right to push ourselves, but to make mistakes. Joy, what do you say?
Well, I'm just thinking that I was certainly brought up as somebody who could get on and do things as far as possible, but also my mother always taught me that anybody younger than myself I should look after, and I think that's why not looking after yourself, but you're looking after the younger ones.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably something to do with that. I had no brothers or sisters that were younger than me, anything like that, but children that were playing in the neighborhood, well, you take care of them, be kind to them, help them. And all that going on, I think you're brought up, yes, you're kind to other people, but you forget yourself.
Yeah, that if you're a good person, you're going to put others before you put yourself. Yeah. And I came up with an acronym for this, is that if you put others before yourself, you get OI.
Oi. Where's the they, Rabbi?
I'm working on that.
Okay, cool.
But I thank you, Joy, for bringing that up. We are taught that you be a good person means to not put yourself first. I've also heard one of the reasons we're kinder to a 4-year-old than we are to ourselves, and help me with this one, is well, we should know better. Help me unpack that one. We should know better, so that's why we're not so nice to ourselves.
If we were never taught to appreciate ourselves and see our own value, how can we know better?
Right. Somebody pointed this out to me. Thank you for, and I'll be right with you, Michael. Give me a second. Someone said it's kind of like being colorblind. And if your whole life you were told you didn't have colors, you didn't know to be kind to yourself, nobody ever modeled self-kindness, how are you ever going to get this idea of doing self-kindness? How you're not going to be able to envision a color. You've never seen a color. You can't see a color. And if nobody modeled self-kindness for you, how would you learn it? Go ahead, Michael.
Well, I think that's what I would land on, that last point, that if you don't, that last point, because I don't think this is an even playing field here. There are people who are raised more balanced and are much more.
Yeah. There seem to be some people who do this better than others.
Some much more respect than others. So this is not an even playing field in that
You're
way.
absolutely right.
I think it'd be wise to find landing on this notion of kindness, essentially place that principle, that value to strive for if this stage in life still grappling with question about things.
Yeah.
I mean, let
me ask a question, Michael.
It's a pretty shady topic in that regard.
Full permission to answer badly. Michael, I'll ask you to answer it. I'll ask other people too as well. And let's forgive ourselves if we hit on some societal constraints of we're not supposed to. We might miss the mark in our answers here, but it seems to me like there must be some cohorts, some groups of people on this earth for whom being kind to themselves is easier. And there must be some cohorts in this world for whom being kind to themselves, being proud of themselves, being compassionate to themselves is easier, and some for whom that's harder.
Yeah.
And the more I think about it, I think about, well, does this have to do with religious upbringing? Does this have to do with age? Does this have to do with nationality? Do we know of any groups? Yeah. Aliana, do you have something to say? You got your hand in the air. No? Okay. Go. Yeah, Gord, talk to us. What group of people? And if Gord says something and you disagree with him, let's just yell at him horribly.
Give me help. Let me have it.
Go for it, Gord.
So I don't know how much of this is sort of like urban myth, but my understanding is that when the Dalai Lama came to North America, he couldn't wrap his head around the idea that we have so much self-loathing.
Yeah,
and that's common among other Buddhists that they don't understand the point of it. And it's almost like a mental illness when they hear about it. It's inconceivable.
Yeah,
and
I think we might agree with them, Gord. Right?
Yeah.
It's so ingrained in us, right?
Yeah.
It's so hard for me to get my head around. So what would it be like to grow up with that?
Not feeling that way.
Yeah.
Being trained that way.
Okay, so we're saying right now maybe North America has a special place in not doing this well. Michael Burrows, what do you say, my friend?
This question always makes me think about perspective and how do we judge ourselves, because we are ourselves looking at ourselves, and it's hard to make that shift to the back to see yourself judging yourself.
So Michael, you're making a really good point. You can't change this unless you even notice that there's a problem.
Yeah. To be able to step back and see yourself from the outside.
Yeah.
It's really hard because we're hunters, we're focused, we attend to our
and
but
we don't.
It's also similar. It's a similar mind that I put in the chat. How can you know what you don't know?
Right. That exactly. So I'm going to address that for a moment and say, as of this moment right now, you watching this, you listening to this, you at least are getting a hint at this moment that we might not, and you might not, be as kind to yourself as you could be. So at least it's being pointed out at this moment for us in some way. And then and the next question is going to be, and Jeffrey, I'll take you, and then the next question is going to be, well, then how? How do we do this? But Jeffrey, you had something you wanted to add. Go ahead.
I do. And it goes right into how we're going to do this. When you're growing up, you think your life is going to be one way, and everyone's telling you that your life is going to be one way, and that in many times is not the life you are now living. If you can embrace the life you are now living, you will probably be kinder to yourself because you've gotten rid of all those falsehoods and the fictions that you were supposed to be living, and you were living your life.
I like this, Jeffrey. Can I put it
kinder to yourself because it is the life you embrace the life you are now living. Literally embrace it. That this is my life, you will automatically be kinder to yourself.
So I think what you're adding to this is that self-acceptance If we did Venn diagram, self-acceptance goes along with self-love, with acceptance of self, with self-compassion, with kindness to the self. The better we're able to accept, this is just who I am right now, the kinder we'd be able to be to ourselves, because we know we can't be other than who we are. Okay, so here's good change management. I made notes of this. So if we're going to look at change goes like this. Hold on. And you remember I said that we would do Plato's Caves? I'm not sure that's going to happen today, folks.
Rose put an interesting question in the chat. How exactly would you define being kind to yourself? What does that mean?
I would go with what in this takes that metacognition that Gord was talking some about, is if you notice your self-talk, and is your self-talk, would that be what you would say to someone else who was in the same circumstance? I think we've all seen this when we're mourning or something bad happens to us, and we have this it's in German there's a word Hintergedanken, hinter from the back, Gedanken to think. There's this Hintergedanken that the way I'm treating myself, if there were someone else with the same exact situation as I'm having right now, I would be compassionate to them. I would tell them, hey, slow down. You have a lot going on. You just went through a year of COVID. Take it easy. If it were to someone else, I'd be able to say, look, you've been stressed out. This has been a horrible week. You just gave up smoking? That was a dumb idea. You need to be smoking right now.
Thank you.
And to be but if it were all inside my own head, I go, what the hell's wrong with you, Brian? You just gave up smoking last week and now you're reaching for right?
That's what most people would say.
Say that again, Emily.
Yeah, they would just get after you and sort of
to get after ourselves, as opposed to treating ourselves with some compassion, with more love. Michael, yeah.
Yeah, well, again, if we're going to pay attention to how we say what we say, and we're serious about that, and believe it to be therapeutic, curative, spiritual high ground, then don't aim at compassion in a situation like this, but aim at being less rigid, less judgmental.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe
be incremental.
Maybe we can't be really nice to ourselves.
Just beat yourself up a little less strident.
Yeah. So I can't quite get to being kind to myself, but I can at least get to being not as mean to myself.
No, not as judgmental.
Yeah.
I don't know that we can stop, Michael. I don't know that we can stop the judgments. I think judgments happen naturally, but we can stop judging the judgments. Like at some point we can stop. We'll be like, I'm judging myself. Hey, mate, it's that thing Tony Ann said to me a few weeks ago. Remember, a few weeks ago I was doing. It was during a planning for this service, and it was supposed to be about spaciousness, and I totally missed it. And I said to myself, "Oh, Rabbi, what the fuck's wrong with you?" And I just said this out loud to her while we're on the phone planning the service, and she said, "Rabbi, maybe you want to start with something a little gentler, like, hey, friend."
Go, Tony Ann.
And what would it be if instead of beating ourselves up as harshly, we're not going to be kind to ourselves quite yet. I mean, that's a goal, but that's for those other people way down the road. We don't have to be as kind to ourselves, but we might not be able to be kind to ourselves, but we don't have to be as mean to ourselves. How's that sound?
Right.
Can we all get behind that?
Great place to start. Yep.
Can we get behind not being as mean to ourselves?
Yes.
Okay, now when you try this week and it doesn't work, what are you going to do?
Laugh. Not yell at yourself about not being kind to yourself.
Oh, that's actually the opposite of what I was going to say. Yes, you're going to be kind. Go ahead, Alex and Scott. You have hands up there?
I think it's really important to point out that there is also a big difference with regards, like the smoking example that you used, between accountability and being kind to yourself. You can hold yourself accountable. I have promised myself I'm going to quit smoking, and therefore I must quit smoking. But it's a different thing to go, oh, you stupid idiot, you smoked even though you said
I agree with you, but I had a situation this week of like there are times when you got to break that promise to yourself to be kind to yourself, because so much has happened and you just need, look, I know it's not a long time fix, but I just need it right now. And I'm not breaking a 7-year abstinence. I just gave this up last week. I can make up the 7 days again pretty quick. I think it's all right to be. Let me go back to the lottery tickets, right? So we're going to be and Lee, I got you in a second. So we have the raffle tickets, and I think there's a subtlety to the raffle tickets when I have asked who deserves a raffle ticket today, and y'all have said, "Oh, I do. I did something really good." And I think we've gotten confused really good with what would be considered righteous in a 7th grade classroom. Like that, oh, I gave up smoking this week. Oh, you get a ticket. But I would also, I would give you a ticket if you had horrible things happen to you and you said, you know what? I needed to be kind to myself and I bought myself a pack of cigarettes, and that I'm not going to, and we'll see. I don't think I'll buy another one. But I would give that person a ticket as well, because in some cases, it's not black and white. Being kind to yourself might mean doing something, I don't know, maybe
it means
this is
accepting
unpopular.
that you're human, is what I hear you saying, that there is within the being kind to yourself and doing it right, is also that I'm not going to do it right.
Yes, that, what Barb just said. And then Lee.
So,
That's a good one.
and
Wait, say it again, Lee. We lost your audio for a second.
literally, Hintergedanken means ulterior motive. Now, the Jungian theory on Hintergedanken is more of a know yourself or know thyself, I believe, which originates from the Greek. But the literal meaning of Hintergedanken is ulterior motive. So,
Oh, you and I are going to have to talk because we have different definitions on that one.
yeah, well, no, I've studied some Jungian theory, and I know where you're discussing Hintergedanken.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, thanks autism, I see it more in a literal sense.
Yeah.
And with me, Hintergedanken actually means your ulterior motive. So yes, it resides in the back and it moves its way towards the front. But unfortunately, Hintergedanken, if you were to talk to a fellow German speaker who doesn't know Jungian theory, they're going to think that you have an ulterior motive.
I got you. We've had different experiences and definitions, but that's all right. That's right. I don't think Holy War is going to quite break out over this one.
I like Marcus and Carrie are saying that the translation in the captions is really great. It's hints like a donkey.
Okay. Lee, I think you and I can agree on that.
Excellent.
Yeah, Alma, go ahead.
I think that we tend to beat ourselves up because we don't realize that we're on a continuum. We can't go from imperfect to perfect in one leap. Don't expect a child to pick up a pencil at 5 and write a 1,000-word essay.
Right. So thank you, Alma. You're bringing me exactly on a great transition to something that we have all talked about before. How to count to 5. You guys remember these? Everyone remember your numbers? So this is Lev Vygotsky, and Vygotsky came up with this theory. Vygotsky had this theory of the ZPD, the zone of proximal development, and he said that the way that we learn is in 5 steps. It's not we either can be kind to ourselves or we can't. But here's really bad. Really, we're not kind to ourselves at all here. That's stage 1. Stage 5 is it doesn't really matter that Lee tells me that my definition is completely wrong. I'm still going to be nice to myself. 5 is being able to be kind to yourself in whatever circumstances. And it's important to us that we see the continuum between them. Stage 2 is where you need, and some people might be at this place where you need someone on the outside to be kind to you. You can't even be kind. You are not at the place where being kind to yourself is even quite the thing yet. You need someone else to be kind to you. The next step after that would be that the outside person, like Tony Ann did to me, the outside person gives you a hint and says, hey, Rabbi, maybe you want to start with, say, friend? That we need someone outside of us to give us a hint because we can't remember to do it on our own. That's stage 3. And if you can move from stage 2 to stage 3, that's already great. And from stage 3, where you get a hint outside of yourself, to stage 4 of learning. I had a kid once who used the word hint as a verb. So she said, stage 4 is where you hint yourself. Where you're having a hard time and you go, oh no, wait, I remember. And then while you didn't do it at the moment and you have to talk yourself through it, you go, oh yeah, wait, I'm supposed to be kind to myself. Right, I forgot. And you give yourself a hint so that you can do it.
That's my math voice, Rabbi Brian.
What's that?
Oh, right, I'm supposed to insert math.
Okay. So here is the nefarious thing and why learning self-kindness is so difficult, is that Vygotsky also noticed there was this issue that whenever we are stressed, we fall down a stage. So when we are stressed is going to be when we're not being nice to ourselves. So we're going to pretty much put a wall up here and make it really hard to pass on to stage 4. Maybe you can do stage 4. There's a great phrase that calm seas never made a skilled sailor. The only way that any of us are going to get good at being kind to ourselves is by being kind to ourselves when we're not being kind to ourselves. To be kind to ourselves in bad situations, it's going to be hard. I'm going to give this little quick, I'm going to give this like sermon. So here it goes like this. There's very little in the world that you can actually control. There is one thing that you can control, that if you learn to master that, all the rest of it doesn't matter. And the better you're able to control how kind you are to yourself, and it might intersect with being kind to others as well, hint, it does, the better off we are. The kinder we are to others, the kinder we are to ourselves, the better off we are. And truly, how kind we are to ourselves might be the only thing that we can control.
Amen.
I'll take an amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
We have some announcements. And where's my announcement? I had somebody who was making announcements for us today.
Yes.
Who's making announcements today?
The music first.
Oh, wait, here's the music, and then we go to Jeff with the announcements. Wait, where's my announcements music?
Saturday service announcements.
Lovely.
Thank you. Jeff.
And now, the announcements.
Yay.
ROTB announcements for April 10th, 2021. Please visit the guest book. Why? Not exactly certain, but it is in the chat.
Can somebody throw the chat somebody who's able to get to the chat, put the link in there for the. Oh, you already
Yeah, I
did.
posted
Thank you.
that.
Sorry. Back to the announcements.
Back to the announcements. ROTB merch. Enjoy your time at the service and support ROTB by buying ROTB merchandise, easily found at the ROTB Etsy store, or email Rabbi Block. Episode 9 of Chats with Larry. Chats with Larry is on Spotify, iTunes, and Google Play. Larry still doesn't know that he's being recorded. Listen in to Rabbi Brian and his BFF and mentor, Larry Keene. Hebrew class, 7 weeks. Coming at the start of May, something to look forward to. Start in May and you'll be reading Hebrew before the end of June. Seriously, because Hebrew is a serious language.
There's a lot more improv happening on the announcements than I'm.
Appreciation. There's much appreciation going on. Special thank yous to Kip, our deep dive master, Joe, our donut hostess and chat moderator, Alex, our technical assistant, Lee for note taking, Tony Ann, a liturgy support, and you, us. I guess you is part of us. Never mind. More appreciation. A special thank you to all of those who help ROTB to pay for the Saturday services. Become a one-time or monthly donor.
Thank you for the announcements. That was
Bravo!
fantastic.
Can I say something? One thing. This
Yeah.
is turning into a prairie home companion.
It is. It's a little. It's a little
He ran for
prairie home.
35 years.
What?
He ran for 35 years.
I'm up for it. Bob, you have your hand up, my friend.
Yes. Thinking about the being kind self. Whoops. You mentioned that to me in an email a while back that I needed to be kind to Bob, and so I've been practicing that. And the ways that I've been practicing that is that if I drop something, my normal reaction would be, and so I have to remind myself to be kind to Bob. And so it's just a little simple things. The other day I bumped my head and I said, okay, be kind to Bob. So rather than getting upset, I've been practicing on being kinder to Bob and also being kinder to Rita.
Thank you for bringing that up, Bob. That's actually is a psychologically sound way of doing this. It might sound a little funny, but if you talk to yourself about yourself in the third person, playing off the idea that we know to be kind to other people. And so instead of it being me, I'm going to be kind to Brian. Oh, Brian I could be kind to.
Oh.
Me?
Yeah.
That's very good. Very helpful.
Sherry, what do you have?
Can you go over our homework again?
Be kind to Sherry. I think if I had to give one assignment today, it would be kind to Sherry.
What's the I want to versus
Oh, those ones.
at homework?
Okay, and then for everyone else, you can substitute your own name instead of Sherry.
Okay.
So what we had said that
How do I be kind? I can't. When I hear the voice saying, let's say I have a hairdo I like, I look pretty, but not that the internal voice says, don't be vain, so don't take a compliment.
Yeah.
Swallow.
Swallow, Emily.
What do I say?
Follow.
Yeah, so how let's hold on to this question. It's a very good question, and Sherry, we'll be right back. If you're really not used to being kind to yourself and you have the underlying message that there's a sin of pride, don't dare do that. You are breaking a huge taboo. Here's what I would recommend.
There's a theological response to that.
Go ahead, Carol. What is the theological response?
Your gifts come from God. So when someone says, you're intelligent, you say, thank you, God. When someone says, you look beautiful today, you say, thank you, God. And you keep recognizing that the things that people like in you are your gifts from God, and therefore you must claim them.
Wait a second, Carol, let me ask you a question. So what happens, though, if I say that to myself and I say, I'm really proud of myself, and then the next voice says, don't you dare be proud of yourself. There are people who do this better. You shouldn't be proud of your...
should say, I am using the gifts God gave me with gratitude.
Yeah. We all get that?
Mm-hmm. Well,
and I would say, let me add one more thing in quick, Barb. All I'm asking you to do is try it for a week. You can go back to not being proud of yourself and not having any pride on April 17th. But I'm asking you to try for 1 week, and I'm pretty sure the universe is not going to collapse if you spend a week allowing yourself to maybe edge a little bit more towards vanity. Let's just try it for a week. I mean, if you go off the rails, I apologize. I'm really sorry. But I don't think you will. Rags, you had something.
It seems to me what Carol's saying is that number 4 that you were talking about, 1 to 5.
Yes.
Is you're getting this little hint. You know, you were told at 3, but things are going along, and oh, I really did. I think I'm really good at that. I did that well, And then you think, well, wait a minute, and then you get 4. It's God saying,
yeah,
or whoever.
But remember, though, that when we are stressed, we're going to fall down, and we might wind up in a place where we're not able to do this by ourselves. And we might need other people to help us to do it. And that's all right, too.
Yeah.
Right? We all needed art lessons.
Yeah.
Well, we could have, yeah. I interrupted someone. Barb, I forgot I had interrupted you earlier.
It's okay. It's just something that I've tried before for myself when I hear my snarky response, is to stop and think, if I was talking to Susie and she was telling me this, how might I respond to her? So it puts it in a different framework that maybe allows me to think about it differently.
I love it. So here's our homework. Our homework, the one piece of homework, a quick little exercise was to do this. Was instead of saying I need, to start seeing what happens if I say I want. And see if that changes anything in our cognition. The more important homework assignment is to be kind to Sherry, to be kind to Betsy, to be kind to Jenny, to be kind to Katie, to be kind to Kip, to be kind to Ron. And if it helps, think about this group and think about whatever it is that you did, and imagine yourself saying to the group, hey, last week I blanked. And I bet you have a sense that this group of people would all say, nah, that's all right. Mm-hmm. So if you can't do it yourself, let's use the group for that. And again, and I'm going to go back to, look, in 1 week's time, you can revert back to the way that you've been kicking your own ass as much as you want. I'm just asking you for 6 days of trying this.
Rabbi?
Yes.
It's another analogy for people who are into this, but it's kind of like running. For a while, I had an injury, but I was really into running, and people would be like, well, I don't understand how you get so excited to run 13 miles. And I said, well, it's because it takes about 6 weeks for you to learn that running is really awesome. So I think that being kind to yourself is like that it's like for this first 6 weeks or, whatever amount of time, it's really shitty.
it might be hard.
But then you were like, oh, actually, I feel better. I feel more energized. I like the moment that I get. Then you learn, but you have to give yourself that space of being like, no, this actually really sucks. And I shouldn't.
I'm with you, Hannah. You lost me a little bit when you said the joy of running 13 miles. There was a little. I had a little cognitive dissonance.
I often lose people at that point.
Yeah, because I was thinking, does that girl know that we've invented cars? Okay, so we're at 9:00. You all have your homework. If it would help you to make a note somewhere on a piece of paper of be kind to and put your own name in there, make a little note to yourself. And we'll try this again next week. We'll see how this goes. This is an experiment. That's all it is. You're welcome to stay for... Oh, such fun news. I'm going to be able to tell you in a few weeks that there's going to be Rabbi Brian's Religious Exploratorium, where we're going to be able to go into topics a little further and also touch more on theology. That's getting built, and that's so exciting, and I didn't have time to tell you about it. Right now, we're going to transition over to donut time, and that means that you're going to get to stay and continue talking about being kind to yourself with our donut hostess Joe and with our deep dive master Kip. And I do want to say, I feel like this religion outside the box thing, it's really fun, and I have 3 sets that I know of, parent and children at the same thing. And we tried to all watch a movie last night, and trying to find a movie that we all agree on is impossible enough. But then finding a religious service where parent and children can come to the same thing and all do it voluntarily, I think that's pretty fucking cool. Excuse my language.
It is.
So, yay. Thank you guys all for coming. Thank you for being here. I am going to hostify Alex, who's going to have to run off at some point shortly. But thank you for doing it. Stay around and continue our chat. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you.
Rabbi, you did awesome.
Thank you.
We appreciate you.
I'll beat myself up later.
Good. Let's go back to step 2.
Good.
Step 4.
Gentle.
It's good. So Joe, you're in, and Alex, anything you need from me? You're hosted now, I think.
I think I've been hosted. I am setting up the breakout rooms right now.
If you've never stayed for breakout rooms, Alex is going to give you some instructions in a moment on how to join a breakout room.
I'll be right
You
back.
don't have to commit yourself to staying for an hour. You can stay for as long as you want, drop in, drop out. If you're on Facebook still watching this, that's weird because I ended the feed. So you shouldn't be watching. Oh, look, we got lots of comments on Facebook. Look, there's from look at that, Jeff, you
Love
win.
the announcements.
She
Jeff,
loved
you're
the
famous.
announcements. Gifts from God. Ginny said thank you. Oh, it's just fantastic. Alex, you all ready for your part there?
Yeah, I'm good.
Go
I'm
for
good.
it. Move them around.
Okay. So what I have done is I have created today 2 rooms. I have created one room which is the deep dive for with Kip, and then we have another room that is unmoderated social chat. So if you want to, go somewhere and talk and not be moderated, Joe is going to stay out here. I will stay here for a little bit, get everybody situated.
But wait, we have a new room called the Unmoderated Social Hall.
Yes.
Anarchy should reign in there. I love it.
Yeah. Now, for those of you who are using computers or know how to use your iPad, at the bottom of the screen, there's the breakout rooms.